into some news. All right. We touched on this story again. I don't have any news points on this. Real quick, the Supreme Court officially overturned Roe v. Wade. You know, any last thoughts? Anything else you want to chime in from the last time we discussed this?
I was trying to send something out to you all. I don't even know what the hell my phone is. Yo, not for nothing. So that was very big for them to be overturning that, because now they're looking at interracial marriages and overturning those. Mm-hmm. And they're looking at there's one other thing that they're looking at. The two senators have brought this shit up now. Like, okay, now let's look at the interracial marriage.
Yeah, it was. I forgot what that second point was.
Something else that they're looking at now. Like, yo,
think about it. It's gonna come back to me.
Yeah.
Is it LGBTQ related? Nah. Contraceptives?
I think
it'll come back if I on my phone, because I did screen.
Yeah, I was talking to Jason about this yesterday.
Yeah. But it's a second part. But
other than that nigga, that was who? Clarence Thomas, who was saying that shit, right?
Clarence Thomas said, yeah. Clarence Thomas talked about the marriage, even though he's married to a Caucasian woman. I don't know.
What? I'm lost. I'm confused. I mean, granted, so about the abortion thing, you know, like, honestly, like I've said before, like, to me, that's an individual case by case basis, that a person should take responsibility for knowing the fact of, you know, we know how pregnancy comes along. It ain't nothing new. This ain't 1900 and something where we don't know how babies are made. So people have to take responsibility for themselves. You know, I do understand there are cases where, you know, birth control may have failed, where you're talking about a broken condom or a pill, whatever the case is. But these are the things that come with the decisions that we make and the actions that we take. Now, as far as this whole, you know, reverse of I've heard these rumors, you know, like I've heard rumors. One, that some people speculate that part of it is, you know, because of decline of white birth rates, you know, and in the future of losing that majority of the population being white. And then the other speculation of, well, this is a real far speculation of basically that it would disproportionately hurt the Black community with abortions. And if, you know, Black women were going out and having illegal abortions, then they would be criminalized and this, that, and the other and all that type of jazz. And then, you know, I've heard this speculation of, you know, they're looking to overturn LGBT rights, you know, but I've never heard about this interracial thing. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, I got something from the Texas Tribune, and they say that in the Roe v. Wade decision, Justice Clarence Thomas invites new legal challenges to contraception and same-sex marriage rights. So
yeah,
it could be those two things.
He was talking about Clarence was talking about same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I didn't hear nothing about interracial.
No, there are two other white senators that are speaking towards these other two topics that I'm talking about.
The interracial. Well, it sounds as though like they just trying to kick it back to the states and let the state dictate that. Now, I guess I think that's the larger question. How do you guys feel about?
No, because the states, that's bullshit. You can't.
It's bullshit. Okay.
States, because. So if you give it back to the states, then people really got to be on their Dane, and they really got to make sure that they are paying attention and they're getting these people out of offices with these old mind states. But if you always look at that, the email, that text I just sent you all, because that was something else that I looked at, and I was like, yo, you got to be kidding me. Did you see the picture? So they're getting backlash because this LGBTQ stuff has gotten totally out of fucking control. I'm talking about totally out of control.
Oh, bro.
Burger King.
Schubert, I see the Burger King. Schubert brought it up.
You see that they did the same bun.
Yeah.
And they got.
Say that again.
Pull it up for Schubert so he can see on his big screen. Pull that up.
What?
They
same bun?
No.
Yeah.
You gotta see this shit, bro.
You gotta see the picture.
I'm
got
so
two
confused.
tops and two bottoms,
They got two tops and two bottoms.
So they got
you make a joke about that?
It's
See,
called
hold up. Wouldn't that be anti-gay? Because last I heard, with gays, there's one top and there's one bottom.
It's a Pride Whopper. It's called the Pride Whopper, bro.
It's a Pride Whopper, bro.
I get it. It's still stupid. It's still stupid.
Look at that shit, stupid. It's on the screen. You see that shit?
I see it. It's incredibly stupid. It's like, really? Like, so what we gonna do on Black History Month? We gonna make the buns black. We gonna burn the buns. That's what we do. Like, oh my god!
Oh shit!
He already made the buns black,
bruh.
I can't. I fucking can't.
He said burn the buns black for Black.
Yo, I'm just saying, bro. Like that's what I'm hearing right now. This is stupid. This is stupid.
They caught a lot of backlash because they were told that they didn't talk to the LGBT community before putting this out.
Because it's stupid.
Who's the leader that they would talk to? Is that curiosity?
Yeah, that's true. Who would be the one person that's
the LGBTQ leader?
Who's the representative to address these issues with?
Whoever speaking the loudest against it at the time.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Like that's I don't know who the queen is or the queen. I mean
the king or the non-binary.
The sheen.
The non-binary.
Pride community is pushing back on this. They're saying you went too far with this shit. The Pride.
You know what? The Pride community, I've noticed some of the people in the Pride community are even pushing back on the drag queen stuff. Like showing up, reading at events, because Montclair had some shit that kind of caught some flack where there was a drag queen show and there was a couple of little kids there and they were tipping the drag queens like you would tip a fucking stripper, bro. Like, yeah, bro. Yeah.
Well, to answer the original question, I just think that they're using this Roe v. Wade as a opportunity to overturn a lot of other issues that, like this is sort of like the gateway. Like, y'all niggas got an issue with same-sex marriage? Cool. We already did the Roe v. Wade, and we about to do this next.
But I got a question with that. So my only pushback is that, but they don't want to talk about that fucking gun shit at all, though, bro. Like, I'm just saying.
that was my next news story.
Like it's funny that you want to push back all this other shit, but as soon as you talk about guns, the shit that's actually really affecting people. I mean, same-sex marriage ain't affecting people. That don't affect me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, unless I was gay and I wanted to marry my gay lover, then it would have an effect on me. But that don't affect me. But fucking guns affect everybody. You know what I mean?
Well, let me get into the news story for that one.
Yeah,
so this is from NBC News. Supreme Court allows the carrying of firearms in public in major victory for gun rights groups. The ruling expands upon a 2008 decision that said the Second Amendment safeguards a person's rights to possess firearms at home for self-protection. The Supreme Court ruled Thursday that the Constitution provides a right to carry a gun outside the home, issuing a major decision on the meaning of the Second Amendment. The 6-3 ruling was the court's second important decision on the right to keep and bear arms. In a landmark 2008 decision, the court has said for the first time that the amendment safeguards a person's right to possess firearms, although the decision was limited to keeping guns at home for self-defense. One last point, the court has now taken that ruling to the next step after years of ducking the issue, apply the Second Amendment beyond the limits of homeowners' property in a decision that could affect the ability of state and local government to impose a wide variety of firearm regulations. And then I read this last one. Experts on gun law said that the part of the ruling sets a high bar for further gun restrictions. So, to your point, I think the difference between the LGBTQ stuff and the interracial stuff, those things weren't built into the constitutions, whereas this gun stuff is built into the Constitution. So what do we think about that?
The same thing. I was thinking the same thing, because I'm like, you got to remember, in relativity is the fact of, the LGBT rules are very new. They're probably the newest laws of all versus like if you go back, gun laws are written into the very beginning of the country, that you have your Second Amendment rights. That was the foundation. So like it's not going to be as easy to rock as something that's a little bit more relatively new.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But at the end of the day, they keep making amendments. And if you can add an amendment, then you can amend the amendment. Correct?
Well, the problem is that
if
the
you
original
want to amend it, if you want to. Because the other ones, like even what they trying to do to teacher, all of the Brown versus Board. That was the shit Clarence Thomas trying to pull. The Brown versus Board, the Plessy versus Ferguson case, rather. So they could go back to you can have individual schools where black and white kids can go to separate schools. Segregation. And the fact that you couldn't have privacy in your own bedroom now. That was the two things. So
the privacy in the bedroom, like what?
You can't have sex with your wife in your bedroom, nigga. It's illegal, basically, type shit. You don't have privacy in your bed, bruh.
Since when,
bruh? I'm gonna send y'all these links because I'm not making this shit up. This shit is about to get motherfucking what's the word?
A totalitarian
society. Yo, this shit is weird as hell what's going on and people not paying attention and we're getting marked by this, they're letting the guns just seep through and we getting so inundated with that gun shit that all this other shit is seeping through the back door. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna pull that up, but that's my thing as far as the guns. Like at the end of the day, you can amend an amendment. It's still an amendment.
Nah, you can. The last time the amendments was at the Constitution was amended was back in '92.
That's what I'm saying. So you can amend.
Yes, you absolutely can. But here's the thing. When the original law was written in the sense of that the people have to be able to arm themselves in the same manner as the government or as the police. So the whole thing is, in order for you to say, okay, Schubert can't have an AR-15, you have to say Officer Brown can't have an AR-15. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. They're not going to do that.
And that's the thing. I don't mind I don't mind them with the law.
I don't mind them either. They could say, hey, shoot, we want that AR-15, sure. As long as Officer Brown's giving up his too.
But the issue is...
What I'm saying is they don't want to have a discussion about anything. You know what I mean? So it ain't not even about Officer Brown giving up his. It's about having a discussion. Niggas don't even want to talk about that shit. They don't even want that to come to the table. They want to talk about every other amendment except the second one. You know what I mean?
I feel you. Let Henry chime in.
Yeah, I'll say the issue for me isn't even necessarily letting niggas have the guns. It's just, I think we touched on this a couple of weeks ago, more sort of process to, allowing them to have it. Like a nigga shouldn't just be able to walk up and just buy one, or they shouldn't be able to just, apply online for a license. They should, there should be a more stringent application process, and even a way, even if you're not going to track the person as much once they get the firearm, you got to do at least like a background check.
No, but I think with this recent ruling, they're not saying that they're going to still leave it up to the state in regards of how you go about regulating guns permits. What with this recent ruling is saying like, yo, the same way you can have home defense is the same way someone should be allowed to carry a gun outside of the home. And that's where the biggest crux of this ruling comes down.
See, I got an issue with that. Unless
as a state-by-state basis.
Even with that though, you still need to get some type of formal training. Like maybe you gotta take a course that says, if you're gonna take your shit out of the house, you have some type of course, because you might be pulling your shit out in self-defense. Okay, whatever. And then the nigga might take that shit from you and shoot your ass. It gives more opportunity for me, for there to be violence outside. It gives cops more reasons to shoot a dude. Well, the black dude had a gun. I didn't realize that he had a permit until after the fact that I shot him. Like, it makes them niggas more on edge. So, if we're going to do it, there needs to be some stricter rules that come along with it.
No, and I agree, and I like your part about the cops being more on edge now that you got these folks possibly walking around with guns in areas that for a very long time are not accustomed to seeing folks walking around with guns. I don't think the court is saying like, not to have those restrictions in place or those guidance in place. They're just saying like, yo, you can't restrict them from carrying a gun outside the house because it's built into the Second Amendment.
And the thing is that, those things are already in play. So if you go to Arizona, you go to Texas, you go to Louisiana, even Alabama, in those states, you can easily open carry. In New York, even if you're a cop coming from New Jersey, you can't open carry. You can't conceal carry. Yes. So it all depends on where you at. I mean, so if they're already doing it, it's no difference. It's really not much of a change, no much of a difference. The whole thing is that
there is a difference for New Jersey, though.
How so?
Because that's what the Supreme Court is saying. It's just like you.
But
can't
New Jersey is not looking to do an open carry.
But that's what the Supreme Court is saying. It's like you can't prevent someone from open carry. You could put harder stipulations, but you shouldn't be allowed to prevent someone from open carrying. That's what the Supreme Court is saying.
So here's the thing with open carry. So for instance, I can open carry as a business owner and a property owner because the fact of I can apply for an open carry permit because I own a business, and my argument is that I'm carrying thousands of dollars to and from my business, So business owners have always been able to open carry, but most business owners don't. A handful do. I know a few that do, but like that's always been a thing. There's always been an open carry law in New Jersey, but it's mostly only open to law, like some sort of law security.
Yeah, security.
Now it's like, or if someone who owns a business and who's protecting their own business, that's it. It's not for the average person.
But now they're saying we should not put a restriction on Smith. If Smith goes through the process of getting the concealed carry permits based on whatever criteria that New Jersey might have, New Jersey should not forbid them. Like there shouldn't be any special distinction between you being a business owner and the safety, security, versus to.
Well, the whole thing is the way they're looking at it from the way the law is, from my understanding of the law or the way they wrote the law, is the fact of me as the business owner, I have a lot more risk and more to lose versus Smith, who's going to the corner store to buy something. He's not going to the corner store as the owner carrying, a wallet full of money to the bank or from the bank because he need to put in the cashier. You see what I'm saying? So it's like,
even so, y'all niggas, I mean, regardless of who it is, y'all still need more proper training on how to fucking carry a firearm, even in the law of, even in the sense of like, okay, this is what the rules are. Before you fire, before you shoot somebody, this is what you do first.
So, and I agree.
You gotta go to the gun range at least this fucking often.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good on in theory, but there's two aspects of that. Aspect number one is the fact of, you're saying it as if scenarios happen perfectly. You have law enforcement who have been thoroughly, conditioned on how to handle a situation, and they fuck that shit up all the damn time.
Yeah, but
the damn time. So hold on. Let me finish my point. The whole thing is the fact of like, even if we did do all that, that is not where the problem is. We're not running into a bunch of people randomly accidentally shooting, someone who tried to rob them or somebody they thought they tried. We're talking about motherfuckers who are mentally not stable, legally owning guns and then shooting up the store full of people or the church full of people or the school full of people. That is where the problem is. We need to find a way to make sure motherfuckers who are handling weapons are mentally stable. That is the issue. That's where your killings are happening.
But you can't.
Be part of the process as well. That's what I'm saying. Like in order,
process. Go ahead.
That is the biggest problem right there.
In order for you to find, I mean, you might have some people who aren't medically diagnosed who might be fucking insane. Okay, so do you say that these dudes got to go,
get checked out every couple years. Maybe if that's the issue, maybe you go and make sure that you in a good fucking headspace every 2 or 3 years. Make that shit part of the process.
I would say every year, part of the process, you gotta motherfucking get your license renewed. Not necessarily like a driver's license, because that's too far in between, especially as you get older. But every year you get your license renewed. You have to take a little mental test, and you gotta show what you can do with the firearm. Like that's reasonable. You know what I mean? And
that's not a problem.
It gives more people jobs, but it's reasonable to do. Since
I was going to say, are you willing to pay the bill?
Let me finish. Since they cut down the DMV, and DMV is generally just going through for your emissions check, and they don't do all those other checks, so DMV is not a staff. Maybe they can train some people to be these license the gun license folks who check the license to make sure that your shit is still in order. And at this thing of that mental shit, you're never going to have an answer for the mental shit. You know why?
That's true too.
Because I can act like I'm not crazy, motherfucker.
You could, I'm not saying that you can't.
Listen to what I'm saying, though. Listen to what I'm saying. I can act like I'm not crazy.
You are absolutely right.
Unless you go back, and again, we reform the laws, and if you did anything crazy in your life, then you can't get a gun. Okay. And yes, we look at your juvenile records. Yes, they're not still out of court. We look at your juvenile record, and if you ever did anything crazy, you can't. I mean, there's ways they can go about doing this shit, but again, that makes too much sense. And it makes more money in death. There's more money in death, bro. Like there it is in saving.
But once again, that was my whole point, is the fact of when we hear these stories and we hear these gun shootings, it's not store owners, it's not homeowners, it's not people that are, defending their home or their store or this. It's random psychos,
criminals.
Criminals who we cannot keep in check.
That's
the point. So the whole thing is, you've taken away weapons from law-abiding citizens who have done nothing wrong. It's not solving the problem.
Yeah, but you still want to
making it harder. Is not making it making it harder is for law-abiding citizens is not solving the problem.
It's a start in the right direction, man.
Yeah, like, even in the sense of okay. And even in the sense of, even if I see the crazy nigga out in public, bro, if I'm not keeping up with my fucking skill, if I'm not going to the range, if I'm not making sure that my shit is on point, nigga, I got a better chance of shooting an innocent bystander. Or fucking hurting myself.
That depends on the scenario. It depends on the scenario. If you're trying to be a sharpshooter and hit somebody from fucking 40 yards, I could see that happening. But majority of shootings are up close and personal, homie.
Yeah, and
I remember having a conversation. Cash,
I can literally teach you how to kill 10 people in a room.
I remember having a conversation, Cash, with you. I think it might have been a person at the Wendy's who got shot in the Wendy's parking lot, where they're like, "Yo, police officers aren't always that accurate. Like it's hard to
always that accurate." No, but I get that.
Need to practice.
But I think ultimately to just go back to the Supreme Court ruling, like what Schubert is saying, it's just like I get all of these trainings, but all of this is doing. You're just making it harder for the law-abiding citizens to obtain a gun. Now, I think all of that needs to be in place. Yeah, I do think all that needs to be in place. But the nigga down the street who doesn't give a fuck, who has a long rap sheet, or like the person who gunned down a Goldman Sachs employee on the Canal Street subway at broad daylight, he's not giving a fuck about none of these gun laws. And I think what this is saying, what the Supreme Court is saying, like, yo, people should have the right to conceal and carry regardless
defend themselves.
And when you compare jurisdictions of areas where there are strict gun laws like New Jersey or the New York area, and you compare it to other areas of the nation, you'll see that there's more homicide incidents surrounding gun laws.
I think that a psycho, well, maybe not a psycho, but maybe a nigga who feel like he ain't got nothing to lose,
if anything,
might be a little bit more hesitant, knowing that there's niggas out here who not only carry these weapons, but are also like keeping up with their shit and know how to fucking use them probably better than this nigga.
Yo, no one is arguing regarding.
Let me comment before I forget my thought, because I
go ahead.
So the problem is this: you make the gun laws harder because guess what? a criminal just can't buy no gun.
Yeah.
So it's illegal. It's a law-abiding citizen that's getting it to the criminal. So that's why you make that shit harder, bro. Because how the hell is a criminal getting the guns? Like, you adjust the law.
There's so many guns out here, though.
Let me finish, please. Because if you adjust laws and you make it to where anything that is registered, anything that you purchase, somehow let's track, because you can have tracking, you know what I mean? Or we just put that shit on the guns where the only person that can pull that shit is the motherfucker who got the goddamn fingerprint, because they got the fingerprint.
Biometric guns.
Okay, so I'm just saying, like, criminals are going to get guns regardless, but how are criminals getting guns? By somebody who is a legal law-abiding citizen who wants to make money under the table. So if you make that shit harder, then you can't have the criminals with the guns.
Not to mention...
But there's already millions of guns, bro.
I understand that, but you go back and
So to Smith's point, and I don't know how accurate this shit is. When you think about all of the mass shootings at the schools and all of that shit, how many of them guns was purchased illegally?
In regards to hold on.
None of them.
Hold on, let me finish.
That's what I'm saying.
None of them.
In regards to the public school mass shootings, none of them was purchased illegally.
But
in regards to the
who shot them in the supermarket.
But when you talk about the everyday, like Smith went through it a couple of weeks ago. There's been like almost 200 mass shootings. Like, but we focus on the school mass shooting because obviously there's minors out there. But there's been 200 mass shootings. A lot of those mass shootings are done in the black market because there's already existing guns out there, bro. Like, so unless you're capable of eradicating all of those guns, like, yo, I could have a 1970 guns that's still operable and I can still kill somebody off of that joint.
Okay, you know what I got? I got one for that. Them guns ain't operable without bullets, so you change the bullets. Fuck you talking about? Let's stop playing. It's America. We can do what the fuck we want.
Who said that? Didn't Chris Rock says charge $500 a bullet?
Yeah. I'm just saying, you change the bullet.
You change the bullet.
You stop making. Listen, if I know got AK-47s out there, but we stop making bullets for AK-47s, you can't shoot that bitch.
Yeah.
That's go over the wall.
You charge. You charge
some cars that you can't drive no more. Like that, and I should just come in a museum.
And
can I make one suggestion?
Well, Schuba got the last suggestion. I want to transition next.
Yeah, let's go on stories.
I like shit simple. I don't see that any reason for them to make these gun laws that much more complicated and this, that, and the other. How about they just, what if they just said, listen, you get a gun, you get a gun permit, you are automatically put on a watch list. 3 red flags, you're out. If you make a mistake with a gun, if you make a mistake and shoot somebody in your household, whatever, you're out. If your gun ends up, mysteriously disappearing, you're out. You know what I mean? Like, if you fuck up with this weapon,
or if any of this shit happens,
if any of this shit should happen,
any of them should happen.
Okay.
All right, any of this shit should happen.
But those are like red flags, though.
I'm just saying what the red flags would be. Yeah. Like if you obviously you can't manage your weapon. If somebody in your household gets shot, your child gets shot, whatever the case is, because they got a hand on their weapon, you're out. That's a red flag. You're out. Your gun mysteriously disappears. Oh, we got robbed. They stole my gun. It should have been in the safe. How the fuck they get the gun? You know what I mean? It's like you're out. You know what I mean? Like, I lost my gun. You're out.
Gun to school. Yeah, that's
like you were automatically out. You were,
forever.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Get a bow and arrow, nigga.
Done.
This nigga said, "Get a bow and arrow."
Just for a point to back up what Prad said, it does happen. What Prad's saying does happen.
Yeah, it does happen. It get passed down.
All right, so it does get passed down.
I know plenty of people with new bullets. That's what
I know. A lot of people.
That's an easy one to fix too, though. That's an easy one to fix too. Because once that nigga dies, then we need to know who that shit is getting passed down to. Yo, so and so had a gun.
22.
No, you gotta do it like the lottery. You can't pass down a lottery. Think about it. They let you pass down a lottery. You die, your payments stop with you.
Okay. All right, next news story.
What's that, yeah?
That's why I gotta take that lump sum. That's why I gotta take that lump sum.
This one's from Bloomberg. More than 8 million Americans are late on rent as prices increase.
Here we go. Here we go.
About 15% of U.S. renters aren't caught up with their payments, according to Census Bureau data, and it's about to get worse this summer as many leases come due and landlords boost prices. That represents 8.4 million Americans who were struggling to pay their monthly rents during the June 1st to June 13th period of the census survey.
Pardon me. Hey, Cash, that's of this June, this year? June?
Yeah.
Oh,
this
okay.
year. Yeah. Yeah. The share was markedly higher for Black Americans. Almost a quarter are behind. And for people age 40 to 54, an age where many are at their earnings peak, which is very true. The census added new questions about rents to its household survey this month, just in time to catch the peak season of lease renewals. There are roughly 60 million households who live in rentals, including many on annual leases who haven't felt the impact from soaring rental prices this past year. That's about to change. Over the last 12 months, rent increases by at least $250 per month for 6.7 million households, according to the survey. About half of families with kids enrolled in free or reduced price school meal programs said it's somewhat or very likely they'll be evicted in the next couple of months. So, real quick, this is another point, and I think I shared this with Kelvin. Just this was reported a couple of weeks ago. Average rent in New Jersey rose nearly 33%.
Get it.
Yeah. So, fellas, what do we think about?
My mama told me this. She said there's one thing you always got to pay in your life. That's your rent or your mortgage, depending on which one. But that always got to get paid. Now, if you get the mortgage, then at some time the mortgage stop you just paying your taxes. See what I'm saying? You got to pay forever if you invest in some fucking property and buy your ass out. I'm just saying. However, at the end of the day, this is double edged to me because I still think that there's I know that there are people who struggle. I get that part. But I also know that there are people who struggle because they want to live
rich.
You know what I mean? They wanna buy Yeezys and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they wanna keep up with the Joneses, and they ain't even got Smith money, but they want to keep up with the Joneses type shit. You know what I mean? So my problem with it, like, I get that they are going to increase, and the increases might seem like a lot, but at the end of the day, there was a moratorium on that shit, right? People wasn't paying rent. And like I said, while you're not paying this rent, you should be stacking your money. Like, at the end of the day, you can't expect to live with all this shit, because that's not fair to the landlord. And yes, shit is going up, everything is going up. But if you're not, listen, stop buying that bullshit. Fuck them lashes, fuck them nails, fuck all that bullshit, goofy shit. Like, keep a house over your goddamn head.
Yeah, and niggas falling back on.
Like, fuck all that goofy shit. Like, people spend money that they don't need to spend because they want to look a certain way or feel a certain way. Like, right now, you got to start slow. You know what I mean? You had choices and you ain't make the right ones. You could have came out and making fucking 6 figures maybe, but you ain't make that choice. You wanted the party, and now that party shit or whatever you did, whatever choice you made got you here. So it's a double-edged sword with me because at the end of the day, I pay my shit. Like, pay your shit. You know what I mean?
That gotta come first.
That gotta come first. First place is a roof, motherfucker. Unless you want to live in a car, you want to live in a car and be fly as hell. I'm saying that's an option for you if that's what you want to do. But at the end of the day, you gotta pay the rent. You need a place to live. And you said 8.4 million are struggling monthly rents from June 1st to June 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of households, bro.
But you can't see the first thing we say, well, let's look at the government. The government should bail them out.
Nah, that's what they're counting on.
The government just spent $13 billion at a fucking war that could have took care of all this shit for everybody. We get all that. But at the same time, people, you gotta step up and push your butt a little tighter and make it happen, man. You know what I mean? And if it calls with sacrificing some shit, you sacrifice some shit. You know what I mean? I know everybody on here understands sacrifice because we've all sacrificed to gain more. If they don't understand that shit, you sacrifice now to get more later. Now, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Kick rocks and meet that bitch down the road. Like, for real.
Yeah. That's what niggas is at. I just feel like, and I kind of already know where Black Juice is going with this, but niggas is going to go with this. But a lot of people, you know, are feeling like, yo, we're going to get bailed out, which in the recent history, well, recent past, I guess I'm saying that shit right, with COVID, niggas is like, yo, fuck it. It's a pandemic. Y'all niggas ain't got to pay no rent. I remember saying, you know, with a little bit of fucking pushback, like if every nigga in the world had 2 to 3 months or 4 months worth of security off their bills, then the pandemic might have ended sooner. When niggas could have just stayed their black asses in the fucking house while the damn shit passed away. You know, I passed on. Maybe that would have been the solution. Maybe not. We didn't even get that option because niggas don't have their money stacked right. So I'm always going to side with the landlord. So if niggas ain't paying their rent, like, oh well, y'all about to just get evicted. Fuck out of here, Al.
And you know what?
Live in your Mercedes Benz, because most of y'all probably got them shits anyway and can't even pay y'all rent. Y'all damn car payment probably just as much as y'all fucking rent.
And you know to add on to that.
I don't even know.
They said this is the census survey. How many of these motherfuckers that ain't making that rent actually took this census survey?
Yeah.
Like, are these numbers accurate? This shit probably more like 16.4, 16.8 million. Because how many motherfuckers actually took this survey?
This shit is hard for me to get with it, man. Like, y'all niggas just asked out, Al. Sorry.
Pay your rent.
Make some better decisions. Yeah, make some better decisions.
Pay your rent.
Smarter about it.
Pay your rent.
Black Zeus, would you like me to chime in, or you?
I'm waiting for Black Zeus before I go back in, because Black Zeus going to close it down with the motherfucking. Okay, go ahead, Black Zeus. We ready?
You know, I blame inflation, gentrification, white supremacy. Oh no! Let me stop.
Yeah, I'm about to say that.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna blame everything but me.
Yo, I'm saying, bro. I'm saying, like, that's what you're gonna hear somebody say.
Yeah,
that's what you're gonna hear somebody say.
Everything.
It's never like, listen, y'all know I've always been an advocate of, you know, self-reliance, self-empowerment. I'm not sitting here and blaming the system, blaming this, blaming that. Even if I know that, you know, stuff is set up against me or things are not quote unquote fair. If I know it's raining outside, I'm going to get a raincoat. If I ain't got a raincoat, I'm going to get a garbage bag. If I ain't get a garbage bag, listen, I'm going to go out here and hustle in the rain and collect some water drops, so at least I have something to drink and take a bath with. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to adapt to my situation. I'm not going to sit here and complain, it's raining. Somebody bring out the sunshine. Like, and that's the thing, is the fact of our society. Everybody wants to play the victim Olympics. You know, it's like, oh, it's you know, it's white supremacy. You know, it's patriarchy. It's gentrification. It's inflation. It's the system. It's the you know. I'm tired of hearing that shit. I'm so tired of hearing that shit. It's like, it has nothing to do with the choices you made. Like, you know, you a baby mama of 4. The system did that to you, or you couldn't keep your legs closed, nigga. You getting got for child support. Is it the system that did that to you, or you couldn't stop fucking all these, you know, ratchet ass chicks? I mean, like, you know, it's like, oh, I couldn't pay my rent. Well, like the brother said, you got some nice ass Yeezys on your feet. You got, you know, you got a brand new iPhone on your hip, bro. I know what money I make. I don't even have a new phone. The fuck you talking about right now? Like, so listen, it's hard for me to feel pity or empathy. You know, now I'm sure there's nuance. There's some nuance. There's some people who might have, you know, got hit during the pandemic. Their job, their company, their business shut down. They lost their job, X, Y, and Z. But I even then, I still have to say, what were the people doing before? Because during that time, during the pandemic being shut down, guess what? I was using to pay all my bills, my savings from all these years where I was tightening my belt. You know what I mean?
You were using your what?
No, I'm tightening my belt and shit.
No,
you know what I mean?
I said you was
my
using
savings.
your what?
My savings.
Your
you know what
savings.
I mean? My savings, my investments. Savings. Not my credit card.
No,
I have a credit card.
Savings.
You know what I mean?
I pay myself first.
Exactly. Like, you know, I stack my dough to the side. You know what I mean? Like, of course, my shit got diminished, but guess what? I'm not in the hole. I'm not in the negative.
And I mean, everybody shit got diminished.
Not yet.
I mean, damn sure not yet. You know what I mean? And my whole thing is, it's like, listen, I get it. Like, you know, people say they out here starving and shit like that, or they make it seem like that. I'm like, no, I see the line of McDonald's pulled up, you know, round the corner and stuff. I still see like Wendy's, you know, and Popeye's chicken sandwich, you know, lines and all that other shit. Like, nah, miss me with that bullshit.
Is that because, hold up, but is it because, and I'm about to chime in, that could be because it's just a cheaper way to eat.
Bruh,
it's not
no,
like
cheaper way.
No.
Stop. Let me finish. Hold on, you guys all talk. Hold up.
Okay, all right. Let me write this down. Wait.
I'm about to.
You said that's a cheaper way to eat. I gotta write this stuff down. Cheaper way to eat.
I think now I'm saying for some folks it could be a cheaper way. I'm not saying it is the cheapest way. For some folks it could be a cheap way to eat. Mm-hmm. I think honestly, while what every one of you guys have to say has merit to it. Was there some reckless spending, lack of foresight in regards of your financial situation? Yes, I will never deny that that's not the case. You do have that, but I also think that there's a bit of short-sightedness with all of you guys in regards to how bad this economy is when it comes to inflation. Mm-hmm. Like how dire this shit is in regards to what items like I have on my screen, and it's not even all of it, but just from a year-to-year basis, how much things have gotten grotesquely expensive. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, again, I pointed out, I saved an article. Rent in New Jersey on average jumped up 33% in 1 year. If your annual raise is not keeping up with just the standard inflation, which are currently peaking at 8.6, but that number is only an average of everything else. But like if eggs is jumping up 20%.
No, let him finish. He's not gonna jump in too. Let him finish.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like when everything else is jumping up significantly beyond pacing what your salary is making or what you're not getting in minimum wage. Mm-hmm. Of course, the inevitable is you're going to have people falling behind when it comes to their living expenses and what their overall cost is. Yo, gas and electric, anyone who's paying attention to what's happening with oil and gas, those prices are going up. I'm just talking to my tenant and it was just like, yo, I didn't even have anything running and my fucking gas and electric this month is fucking crazy. I think, honestly, this is going to be a humanitarian problem because there are tent cities popping up nationwide at a rapid pace that people are saying like they've never seen before. You have people like Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey, former CEO of Twitter, who's saying like, yo, the decline of America is inevitable, but like in the way it's happening, it's going to be like people aren't ready to see this sort of displacement in our society. And if you have this sort of displacement in our society, be ready for the violence that comes with it. All you need to do is go down south of the border and see Venezuela, parts of Ecuador.
I get that, but I was laughing. My bad, Cash. I was laughing because you said you got people like Elon Musk that talk about it. Then nigga, fix it, Elon, because you can. I'm just saying, like, that's that bullshit where we use names like that. Nigga, that nigga can, one wave of a pen can fix this shit. I'm just saying, like,
I don't think
so we can't use names like that. They said we want to decline. This nigga's trying to get away from this shit.
There's a systemic issue. You can't just tell one person
I get it. I get it, but if it's a systemic issue, like you're saying, right? We got motherfuckers that could wave pins and fix the issue, though. I'm just saying, so let's stop there.
But we can't just simply throw money at a problem and say that's solved. You got to logistically see what's the problem.
I want to go back to this because I wrote down, you said it's a cheaper way to eat. So going out and buying fast food every day is cheaper than fucking buying groceries?
It can be.
Can it really?
Yeah. For some folks, they've done studies on it.
Okay, so are we talking about for a family of one, or are we talking about for a family of what?
No, that's nuance.
Oh, okay, because about one person, maybe it could be. But listen,
exactly.
I'm gonna tell you this: look, at the average McDonald's meal at $3 a meal, that's the snack bundle, $3 a meal. If I get that $3 3 times a day, I'm spending $9.
No, you're right. I won't deny that.
But if I get that 5 times a week, I'm spending $45. If I get it 7, come on now. So you telling me that getting groceries is still not going to be more beneficial to me eating out every day?
It can be, bro. I've seen studies on this. I'm pulling it up now where it's just like
because I also know that I can go to these farmers market. I also know they got a lot of food, not food banks, but they got food shops set up now. They got one right here for me where you can just walk over there and get the food that you want. You take
I have to give cash. I have to give Cash some credit because
that was good.
There are some cases, but that's not the majority.
It's not the majority. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when you made the remark, I'm saying like, yo, even the New York Times, like
that's what I'm talking about.
That shows that fast food is more affordable than a home cooked meal.
But this is a New York Times says that
in a very few.
New York Times says that no.
I'm not saying it, but I'm just saying I was just pointing out for some folks because it was brought up. I'm just saying for some folks, it can be.
Absolutely.
When you see lines at Wendy's and McDonald's, it certainly can be for some folks.
And some people can eat fast food all their life and never get sick, but is that the majority?
No, you're right. I'm not.
So we're not talking about. We're talking about in general. We're just talking about in general. I know that there's always going to be nuance.
Why would a person eat? Yeah, exactly. There's always nuance. I'm just saying, for some folks, we got to look at. We don't know everyone's financial situation, but what I'm saying is we just got to highlight that, if for some folks, it could be an affordable situation as to why they're eating fast food.
Wait, stop. Because the article is saying exactly what I'm saying, though. The article is telling you that far from contrary to popular belief, fast food is far from affordable compared to a home-cooked meal. It's far from affordable. It's more affordable to cook something. It tells you right there the shit you just highlighted. Read it to us.
Yeah, no. The graphic shows that the contrary to popular belief, fast food is far more affordable compared to a home cooked meal. But there's also
that's what I'm telling you. You say no. You're saying that fast food is affordable, and I'm telling you that no, a home cooked meal is always going to be more affordable than fast food because you're going to pay more eating out than you would fucking cooking at home, bruh. For anybody. Nigga, you can get a ground beef. You can get some ground beef and make all the burgers you want.
You can get a big ass bag of rice.
See what I'm saying? So it's always going to be easier. That New York Times shit just showed you what I was saying. Like it's always going to be more costly to eat out. People think that it's affordable mentally, but it's not.
So here's what
it might become affordable. Let me say this one thing. It might become affordable as far as time is concerned.
That's what I'm saying.
It might become affordable where I don't have time to do this. I got to manage my time a little better so I can actually cook a meal at home.
Exactly. Like
that's opportunity cost.
But it's also called opportunity cost.
It's time management.
Let's get back to the point. Let's get back to the point. The point is we're talking about rents. People are behind on the rents. And the whole thing is, I'm sorry, Cash, you make a valid but inconsistent point. When you talk about New Jersey's rents going up 33%, we're not talking about people that are already in the home and their rent went up 33%. We're talking about new rent. So if I move out of where I'm living now and I go to find someplace comparable, the rent at that new place is 33%, but my rent where I'm at right now by law can't be
that's not true. It's not true. Like it doesn't say anything about new rent. It's just talking about average rent.
It just says it. But the whole thing is
talking about
how many. But here's the thing. How many places you're telling me? So what you're telling me is that people have been living in the same spot for the last 5-10 years. All of a sudden in 2022, their rent has gone from $1,000 to $1,330.
No, what's happening? This is what's happening.
That's what you're telling me.
If your town doesn't have rent control,
this is what Cash is saying because I do understand this. So this is what's happening. my rent is not going up, right? But as soon as my lease ends, my rent is going up 49% or 33%. You understand? So I'm not getting a new place. I'm staying in the same place, but my old lease is over.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
There's no. But isn't there rent control though?
No, not this is the issue.
Not right now. Not right now when I didn't raise your rent
control.
for 2 years. I didn't raise your rent for 2 years.
I see what you're saying.
Not every place has rent control. Everyone thinks there's rent control. No, not every. Montclair just instituted rent control just last year. But like I could go over Bloomfield, they don't have rent control. Like I could go there. This towns do not have rent control. Yeah. So yes, as a landlord, if I feel like I got the end shaft of a stick from the past 2 years, and I got a tenant, I'm like, look, man, you know what? Smith been a great tenant, but fuck it, I need him to help make up for the losses in my other rent. Other units, I'm gonna hit them with a 33%.
Are you for or are you against rent control?
I'm against rent control.
I'm against.
So then, what's the issue with the whole idea?
Because the problem with but the thing is, the problem with rent control, and this is I don't want to necessarily take up too much time. No, but the problem with rent control is it takes away in regards to affordable housing. There's been studies that show that rent control it causes more harm than it needs to do good. And like while rent control seems it's supposed to help people, and it does seem to need to do that, but their study shows that it kind of does the opposite effect. But you have
what's the solution? Because you still got niggas raising rent, and now you're saying people can't afford it. So you can't be against it if it's like, yo, I'm not against rent control, but niggas don't need to be raising rent a certain amount of money.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Because the other option is where I hear where Cash has come from about the rent control thing. So when I used to live in my old condo, even though I would have a 2-bedroom condo and another person would have a 2-bedroom condo, that 60, 70-year-old guy who's been in the condo for the last 20, 30, 40 years, his HOA fees are 3 times less than mine because he came in earlier, and now mine are subsidized are higher to subsidize his rent controlled, if you will, space. So I understand what he's saying is the fact of it takes away from the possibility of affordable rent for other people.
Exactly.
So it is a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword. All I'm saying is I'm just bringing this article as an awareness that we have a problem now. And to Smith, you bring up a very great point. This is who was willing to participate in this survey. This shit could be 16 million people out here that's really out here on the brink of I'm about to be fucking evicted.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, are we ready to see some doomsday shit out here on these streets? Because you have what they call tent cities being built. You got homeless camps being built in areas where it was once pristine. Now the homeless have taken over this shit.
And this is why I want to keep my gun. See, it all makes sense in America. But I want to say, we're talking about rent control increases. They make these shits every 2 years. We was in a pandemic for 2 years. Yeah. I can raise my fucking rent. And I got shafted and I wasn't getting paid. So what y'all expect?
No, look.
I can challenge that.
And the bank still expects the mortgage when you're the landowner. When you're
the
only way I can challenge that though, Cash, is if I got a violation or if I think that the expenses don't warrant an increase.
Exactly. No, you're right. You're right.
And the whole thing is, those people who are not paying you rent still has the law on their side to make sure you provide them with appropriate accommodations.
Depending on the state, of course. Depending on the state, because New Jersey and New York are some very tenant-friendly states, and it's not easy to evict.
Here for another year,
but if I live in Oklahoma, I probably could have a better process of evicting you. I'm just saying, this is, I think
I can live here. People do that. They do the fucking. I live house to house. Wait till I get evicted. They've understood how the court works.
I know some people have done that.
Exactly.
Court is not in a landlord system. Not in a landlord favor. So they just keep going through with that shit. I get evicted from here. Live here 3 years. Live here 5 years. Live here 8 years.
Live here 6 months.
I can use live here 6 months. I'm out. Right. I can do this.
Well, you're gonna have what they call people gonna start doing squatting rights and shit like that. They're just gonna be like, fuck that. Yeah, they're gonna be like, I'm just gonna take ownership of this shit, and you're just gonna have to try to evict me, and know that it's gonna take you a long time. I bring this story up to say,
burn that motherfucking house down. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
go out of here. Smith, I don't know if you guys remember the story I shared last year where the landlord kidnapped the tenants and took them niggas to a graveyard. You're gonna have dire shit like this.
Damn,
I don't think people are ready. As if we don't get a good handle on the effective way. And look, I'm not someone who's in this line of profession to study this shit and to come up with policies. That's not my job. So therefore, I don't invest the time into try to think of the proper solution. All I'm saying is, when I bring this story up, this shit is dire. This shit is, I think, outright scary. And I think we need to really pay attention to, how bad things could really get out here in these streets if you got this many people about to face eviction.
You're right, but at the end of the day, let me say this last part before you go to that next story. Niggas could TP it.
What's that? What's TP?
TPing is Indian style, nigga. 16 months, bro. I'm like, you act like niggas never lived like this. You don't see the pictures of this shit. Not just in, they lived in shanty houses like this. You know what I mean?
Can't with him.
Like, motherfuckers could lower their.
That's not
a legitimate fucking. That's not
a cheap mother. No, you're right. It could be an option.
I'm saying, like, we got a 1-bedroom apartment. We got 24 motherfuckers in here until we can get on our feet. I'm just saying.
No, I ain't gonna lie. Spanish people be doing that shit.
I'm just saying, like, that's the way to do it.
Fucking immigrants be doing that shit. Immigrants be doing that shit.
I'm saying immigrants can do it, but we laugh at that shit.
Right.
Like, I'm saying some real shit.
No, it's some real shit. It is a good solution. I think people need to come back together to the old ways. Shit is getting.
We got 16 cash.
Yeah.
Got enough money. We can buy a house. Now we got our TP in our house. Now we move some of the people out of the TP into the house, and then we get enough money up. We get another house. And
you're right.
That's how it works. But motherfuckers can't go for that.
Listen, I ain't mad because I got like in my family, I got one of my siblings who has 3 generations of family living all in one house.
That's what I'm saying.
In Brooklyn.
Nigga, listen. I used to be in the bucket, nigga. I know what it's like to do shit like that, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
We lived how we live, and it worked. And now niggas got property down that bitch and acres and shit like that. And they can build on the shit they got. I'm just saying.
And can he speak English?
If you're yes, all my country bumpkins can speak English.
Well, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. All right, man. Damn, I didn't realize the time, man. Let's get into these goddamn questions. Let's transition to the book, and if time allows it, we come back to these.
I need that one question right there. Kel only motherfucker I get off. I think 11:30, but they here, but my party ain't until 2:30. I need that last question because I Kel on here for that.
All right, what the Richard Pryor one, right? All right, fellas.
Oh no, not that. Go back to the news right quick.
This is why you gotta post the questions one at a time, man.
I just need that one question right there, the one with the teachers skipping students. I want to know what the VP had to say about that. I just want that one story. I just want to know what happened.
So, all right. Since Smith is so adamant about this news story, so this was from the New York Post. Just the headlines: teachers say they are pushed to pass students who skip class all year. I guess you want me to read the last quote down here. Administration use that policy to push teachers to promote students who have been absent from the class from the whole year. A Bryant teacher said, "Failure is not an option." Pretty much, as you could kind of get the sense of the title of the story. They noticed that the school in Long Island City, which is in New York, where a lot of students who were just not coming in, being passed along.
This is high school, right?
Yeah,
it says
high school. Yeah,
get them niggas up out of here. Push them along. See you later.
Yeah.
Prison pipeline.
Yeah. So that administration.
See, Black Zeus. That's why I wanted to stop. Yup. That's when they say the prison to the P to the P. The prison to pipeline.
The pipeline. Yeah.
Hold on. Is it the school's fault that niggas don't come to school?
It's not the school's fault
that
they did not come to school, but it is the school's fault for trying to pass them along when they shouldn't be passed along.
That is true.
So you can keep failing year after year?
It's the school's fault.
No, I mean...
And the niggas drop out when they 16 anyway?
Nah, Henry, they're being pushed to promote these students, whether they've been in class or not. You know how that shit goes. Now,
get them niggas up out of here.
You're not in high school, but guess what? You know that shit approaches me every year.
And plus, it's like, what's the incentive for the student who's working hard in school if it's like the other guy's going to get the same, diploma?
Exactly.
You make it to college. You make it to
that doesn't. Graham talk, social media talk. So students put this shit out like, man, we ain't had to do shit. And guess what? The next generation said, well, I ain't got to do shit because they just set up the blueprint.
You gotta hold a standard, bro. You gotta hold a standard. It's fine if you say you don't show up, you don't get credit, we kicking you out or something like that. That's fine, but you can't just say you're gonna get the diploma when you didn't put in the work.
But then the backside of it is this, Black Zeus. It's not even a kid like, well, fuck it, I don't mind because I still get my diploma. The teacher like, I don't feel comfortable with this shit at all.
They're working in a different district.
This student is not good. And then if you're not a good teacher, if you're not a seasoned teacher, you feel like you're going to be reprimanded. And sometimes when you're a seasoned teacher, you feel like you're going to be reprimanded.
See, and this is the things that the teachers union need to stand up for.
Exactly.
See, that's the thing. It's like teachers union stand up when they talking about their paycheck, but they're not standing up when it comes to the academics of our kids.
And I say Black Zeus is
so how passionate are you as a teacher?
That shit is not going.
Black Zeus got to be here for 181 days. Black Zeus has been here for fucking 92 days.
And the parents.
That's like
I'm assuming in this scenario that the due diligence has been done with the school as far as process, making sure that the summons is issued to the parent. They've gone to court. X, Y, and Z has happened. Like, it is the school's responsibility. I would say I'd say 40%. 60% falls on the parents. And I get it. Right. Okay, Johnny doesn't come to school. Maybe Johnny's not an issue, man. Niggas just don't come.
Okay.
So Johnny's gonna stay here until what? He's a freshman. Mm-hmm. Johnny turns 16. Now Johnny's like, fuck it, I ain't feeling school anyway, nigga. I'm dropping out.
But Henry, I got a question. How many times have you all taken Johnny to the court?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Johnny himself or the parents? Because it's up to the parents.
No, the parents got to go to court. Johnny don't go to court because Johnny's not responsible for himself. Johnny's a freshman, like you said.
Yeah, he's still a minor.
Remember, after you miss X amount of days, folks,
your parents got to go to court.
They take you to court.
Really? I didn't know that.
The parent.
They take the parent to court. And
of course you wouldn't know that. You went to school.
Yeah. So now you got to put all these dates up.
Bruh.
You know what I mean? And it's on the parent, right? But now look, this is what's also on the parent. If I break Johnny's jaw for talking disrespectful to me, I go to jail. But nothing happens to Johnny for not going to school. You understand what I'm saying? So now I do get that part because I've seen motherfuckers talk to their parents so reckless, and I gotta grab their ass up like, yo, who the fuck are you talking to like that?
I mean, unfit. If the parents deemed unfit, if the parents deemed unfit at some point, kid gonna get taken out the house.
But guess what? Parents are really deemed unfit nowadays.
I'm talking about if his attendance is really that bad consistently.
And this is why we need a.
Bro, I got inconsistent attendance, and that shit don't. No, Henry, it don't work like that.
And this is why.
And that's why I wanted your answer because you on one side of it now still.
Hold on, what you say, Black Zeus? Motherfuckers need to start aborting these kids.
That's why you need abortion.
Now, on some real shit.
That's why you need abortion.
I wanted to have the last word on that abortion shit. I'm gonna send y'all niggas this podcast I listened to that tied the link. And I think I was telling Cash about this.
Crime
that tied the link. Yes, it said like, yo, when abortion was fucking, because abortion it was legal, everywhere. You had less fucking crime because the chicks who would be keeping chicks who would be keeping the babies was being forced to keep the babies now would otherwise be aborting them because they'd be single mothers or in fucked up ass situations. Now you got
the one flaw in that study, and this is what Black Zeus harp on, is I think that study was done in the 1970s, and the level of contraceptives weren't to the point where it is at now. So it's just like I think Black Zeus and where I fall in is just like this topic about abortion shouldn't even be is a non-issue with all the preventative measures that we have today. It's a non-issue.
No, it should still be an issue though, only because it is. I was looking at this commercial for some other abortion shit that a female can put But a lot of that shit is that chemical shit that fuck up your body. That females don't put that shit in their body.
Like, there's a female condom.
But yet, hold up.
That's why. Wait. That's why females
are probably hitting the bar every weekend.
That's why. No,
popping bottles every weekend.
I'm gonna lose my thought.
All right, let Smith finish his thought.
That's why females say come up with a contraceptive for the male, right?
Yes.
Because listen, even when I was fucking with old girl, Henry, Master G, she was like, yo, after I got pregnant, you know, like that shit fucked my body up. That shit I was on, that shit, like that shit fucks with their body. We don't know.
You're right.
We don't put no chemical in our body to fuck up our body to get rid of a child or none of that shit. Like
there's also the female condom though.
No, I know that. I get the female condom. But guess what? Same way a guy says, I don't like that shit, same way a female says. So then you do have contraceptives, but a female condom can break just like a male condom can break. So it's not 100%. Nothing is 100%.
No, you're absolutely right. It's not 100%. But how many people are practicing?
This is what I wanted to say. I'm going to call. Let me finish this. Anything that's going to take my period away or make my body not flesh itself the way that it needs to flesh itself, I need to look at. Anything that's going to have me spotting as a female, and I only talk from this point of perspective because I got a fucking daughter. Yeah. So I'm looking at that shit now like, shit, she can have a baby. You know what I mean? She can get pregnant. She got a vagina. But anything that's going to cause her fucking vagina to not work the way it's supposed to work or not flesh itself the way it's supposed to flesh itself, that's not natural. That's all.
No, you're absolutely right. I won't deny that. But there's also this female condom, and I remember watching a stand-up female comedian say, like, look, it is effective, but this shit takes away from sexiness. Could you imagine trying to squeeze this bitch in right before you try to get it in?
That's why you're supposed to put it in before you get it in. You got to put it in like Louis.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to put it in like the Lolo.
Right?
And that shit before.
And listen, I hear where you're coming from because, like, you know, it's like, from my personal experience, it's like, you know, we got one kid. My wife has been on birth control ever since, and I'll admit,
I dig into a plastic bag.
Yeah. So the whole thing is that yes, the shit has caused things like weight gain and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I get all of that. But my whole thing is the fact of you got to pick and choose your poison. All right. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Either you're going to say, hey, I'm going to have a shit ton less sex, or I'm going to use birth control, or but you can't just say like, oh, my only answer is this last straw of an eject button. All right, you can't say I like you want you're like
button.
Yo, I'm saying that's what it is. It's like people are like, yo, you know, I want to have the sensors around the car to tell me that there's danger. I want to have the airbags. I want to have the seatbelt, but I don't want to use none of that shit because it touches my body. I want to have the eject button to jump me out the car just before the accident. It's like, what?
Yo, like, how do you sticking his dick in a plastic bag?
Like a plastic bag.
And here's the thing, and I'm glad you said that, Smith, because you know what? If you ask anybody from any dude from Africa, you know, and I hate to put it out like that, but it is what it is. You ask dudes from Africa, they'll tell you they wear 2 rubbers. 2, not 1, 2. You know, is a common practice in Africa to make sure you don't get fucking AIDS.
AIDS, yeah.
Right? So, but you motherfuckers won't put on 1.
Nope.
Like, miss me with that bullshit.
I think, I think with the abortion, it's going to cause discernment. You're not going to just say, yo, I just met a person at the club and I'm about to pop off that night or late the next day with them. You're going to be a lot more discerning about who you want to sleep with. But yo, let's get into the book.
Yeah, let's get into the book. But I was going to say with this shit, this plastic shit that the female got, I don't like that shit either. Because you see how she throwing it in the garbage over here? CDC got her throwing it in the garbage. So she's collected all my sperm in there, and now she's going to take that turkey base to suck my sperm up and then inject it.
God. Oh, God.
I'm sorry, I had a different
life.
I had a different life, nigga. I had a different life.
Listen, bro.
I had a different life.
Do what Drake did.
Yo,
do
like Drake and put hot sauce on that shit.
I had to get this right.